Okay, so for first consideration, I think we have the appointment of Juliana Valencia Banks. Is that correct, Mr. Secretary?
Uh, Actually, Mr. Chairman, the only items we have are the bills that were introduced last week, and yes, I believe she is uh, dealing with Bill 4824, sir.
Okay. Yes, okay. This is the American Immigration Council grant. Is Miss Valencia Banks with us?
Good afternoon, Chairman. I am on the call.
You want to tell us a little bit about this, Miss Valencia Banks?
Absolutely. First of all, good afternoon, Chairman and gentlemen of the Council. The administration is requesting a supplemental appropriation of private funds from the American Immigration Council totaling $27,000 to support the implementation efforts of the Baltimore County Welcoming and Belonging Strategic Plan. The plan was officially launched on April 29th. Chairman, thank you so much for attending the event. We were very excited to have you join us. The plan was drafted by the New Americans Task Force and included recommendations on how to support immigrants and refugees across Baltimore County. As you may know, more than 12% of our residents are foreign-born individuals. And many of these individuals need more information and awareness of available services provided by government agencies, community-based organizations, and other entities. One of the recommendations that was found in the Welcoming Plan was to increase awareness of services by engaging immigrant and refugee communities. To achieve this goal, what we intend to do is host multiple community resource events geared towards addressing the needs in the immigrant and refugee community, such as barriers to integration and helping attendants become more active and engaged community members. To encourage participation in these events, we will use grant funding to purchase culturally appropriate food boxes from the Maryland Food Bank and have other incentives available. In an effort to better inform our new and longtime immigrant and refugee community residents about their rights, such as tenant rights, labor rights, immigrant rights, we will also work with nonprofit organizations to provide presentations at these events. These organizations will be provided with a speaker stipend. We will also use funding to print our Baltimore County Welcome Guide into the 5 most commonly spoken languages throughout the county and to print other materials as needed during these events. So to wrap it up, these funds will be used to engage immigrant and refugee communities to increase awareness about the different services that we have available. And we're very fortunate that we will be receiving these grant funds from the American Immigration Council. So using other people's money to do valuable work.
Thank you, Ms. Valencia Banks. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, Councilman Katz, go right ahead, please.
Yeah, you said other people's money. Where's the money coming from?
The money is coming from the American Immigration Council.
And who funds that?
It is a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization that provides research on immigrants in the country.
So who funds that?
They do grant funding similar to many different nonprofits that we work with, philanthropists, different organizations.
So they get no taxpayer money?
Unless a taxpayer contributes to them.
No, I mean from the government, from the state government or the federal government.
I would not be able to answer that, unfortunately.
No, the only point I'm making is you said, you know, basically free money, and I just wanted to. And if they get money from the federal government, that's fine with me, or the state government. I just get concerned when they say, you know, it's free money. It's not free money. It's if it's from the government, it's from the taxpayers. That's all I meant. And so, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Any additional questions, comments, thoughts? Thank you, Ms. Valencia Banks. Councilman Ertel and I had a pretty robust discussion this afternoon about some of the needs that we need to provide and some of the services that we get from our immigrant community and how it's a significant contribution to the needs of the public at large. So keep up the great work, Ms. Valencia Banks. It's really sorely needed. Okay,
Thank you so much, sir. And I would just like to add that I want to be available to the council as a resource and a trusted partner. If you all have any questions or concerns reaching your immigrant constituents, I am a phone call or email away.
thank you so much, Ms. Valencia Banks.
Thank
And
you.
just a confession to my colleagues, the reason I was so confused about the agenda is it was so short that I kept skipping over it, unlike our agendas of the last few sessions. It was less than half a page, so I just ran right by it. Okay. So moving to the next item on this half-page agenda is Mr. Gutwald.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the County Council. Bill 4924 replaces the 2015 Building Code as adopted by Bill 40-15 with the 2021 International Building Code, International Residential Code, International Mechanical Code, International Model Energy Conservation Code, and International Swimming Pool and Spa Code. I would just like to mention a couple of highlights that we did for local amendments, some required by the state, which was adding specifications for EV charging stations so that single family houses are EV ready if they have a garage or they have a driveway. And we also added conditions for commercial structures for the location, that there are sprinkling and there are ballards associated with those EV charging stations in commercial parking garages or structures. I will also note one of the biggest things we've done as a local amendment is we've moved we moved some of the sections of the building code associated with fences and piers and moved them into as part of this piece of legislation into the Baltimore County zoning regulations. Currently, they were in both sections of the code. They were both in the Baltimore County zoning regulations and in the building code. We moved any of the conditions and criteria in the building code under the zoning regulations. Primarily, the biggest thing was the process for any variances or waivers. It was split between the administrative law judge and building code official. So we moved it all over to the administrative law judge to deal with any variances or waivers to fences and or piers and held public hearings for that. Those are the major changes to the building code and this piece of legislation. If you have any further questions, I will try to answer them. For any questions you might have.
Thank you, Mr. Gutwald. Any questions, comments, or thoughts to share with Mr. Gutwald?
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Couch?
the EV charging stations, have you been able to do anything to help those that live in row houses? Because it's very expensive to install one. I think it's like $6,000–7,000. And of course, you have the problem of sidewalks. You can't have cords running across sidewalks. So has anything been done in regard to them?
So I don't know about the costs, but we have created a process of what we call a franchise agreement that allows them to access if it's in our public right of way to go across, but there's conditions that they must have to do to make it ADA accessible and safe, to traverse across that sidewalk. So we do have a process that goes through real estate compliance to allow them to get that access for those townhouse units that might have public right of way between the parking and their unit.
Because I was referring to individuals, who want their own charging station in front of their homes, and
Correct.
Unfortunately, the price that I named is the price, very expensive, and
Right.
part of the problem is many of them have sidewalks in front of them, and it's getting under the sidewalks or whatever. And I think that the government is trying to push electric vehicles, and I mean, I'm sure that so many of our people in Baltimore County live in row houses. So I think really we need to try to address this problem. Because I have constituents who are trying to get them and the cost is just prohibitive.
Well, we are trying to make our process simplified for them. I can't speak to the cost because that's an individual,
Well,
situation.
apparently it's the county regulations regarding their installation at a townhouse that makes them expensive. So, because you can't, apparently you can't, let's say on the front of a home, you can't put a receptacle and then a portable wire that you plug into the house and then run into the car. You can't do that because of the fact that you're many times going over a sidewalk.
Correct. You got to keep it ADA accessible and you can't make it a trip hazard. That's why you can't do that.
Right.
So we've created a process for that. I get that it's expensive, but
Oh,
I can't allow others to.
oh no, and the point I'm trying to make is we could do something to make, to make them affordable. If you could look at that problem and see if there's any solution to it and take it's $6,000-7,000 to install one of these charging stations. So, anyhow, unfortunately, so thank you. And Mr. Chairman, I have a question for DeAndrea.
Go right ahead.
Yeah. Hi, how are you?
Hi, sir. How are you?
Fine, thank you. You were going to get back to me about when the county is considering buying a particular structure, whether or not a inspection is required.
Yes, I have a draft for you. I'll give it to you tomorrow. I do have the draft letter. I apologize. I will have it to you tomorrow.
No problem. Thanks very much.
Yes, sir.
Sure, Councilman Catch. Ms. Walker, I have a question for you as well. Is that a virtual background that you have going right now?
No,
Okay.
it's my empty shell.
Mr. Secretary, can we send Ms. Walker a book of any sort? Any book that we have? It could be an old budget book or something, just to fill those handsome shelves that she has there.
Absolutely, sir.
And
I'm
the chairman, I would suggest that she go online like Mr. Gutwald did and get some fake diplomas and online, get them framed and put them on your wall. Because he was called down by Councilman Crandall about the fact that his wall was blank. So he'll tell you where to get these fake diplomas. I have no idea. Mine are real.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Councilman Catch, for your
You're
insight.
welcome.
I'll hook you up, DeAndrea. Madam Mayo.
Any members have any additional questions, Mr. Gutwald? Okay. Hearing none, we're going to move to the next item. Next item is Council Bill 5024, sponsored by myself, Councilman Ertel, Marks, and Catch. And this is a follow-up to adequate public facilities ordinance. And I'll just add my understanding of it, and then if any of my colleagues would like to speak, I think this adds clarification to the bill that was approved. Well, actually not approved, the overturn of the veto of a bill last week. And two clarifying factors, or one is it establishes the committee as advisory, one major change, and the second major change is an exemption for any construction that is related to the voluntary compliance of 2016. Do any of my colleagues want to add any opening comments for discussion? Okay, is there any comments, questions, thoughts any of the members would like to share? Okay, Ms. Belcastro, do we have any speakers on this item?
No, Mr. Chair, we do not have any speakers.
Okay, if there are no additional comments on this, we'll move to Bill 5124, which is Councilman Catch.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, first of all, when will we be voting on the APFO bill?
I'm gonna lean on Mr. Secretary to give me some guidance on that.
So there will be one more work session at the end of the month, at the end of July on that last Tuesday. And then the bill is scheduled for vote on August 5th.
Okay, okay. What this legislation deals with, it deals with the land that is zone RC4, which is property that, of course, is in the rural conservation zone. And it's property that can be developed, but however, 70% of the property has to be put in conservation. And what this bill states that if this property is served with public water and sewer, that a senior living institution can be built on the property or enlarged. That's what it does, and so it does. It does not include most of the RC4 zone land, because most RC4 zone land does not have public water and sewage. So that's what the bill does.
Thank you, Councilman Katz. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts to share with Councilman Katz? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to the next bill. Bill 5224. This is Councilman Marks and Councilman Ertel, related to design review areas. I'll turn to Councilman Ertel on this one, since Councilman Marks is on his team.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chair. So this is, we're basically looking to extend design review corridor. We have several properties that are going to need revitalization along all these areas, and Councilman Marks and I thought that design review might not be the best idea to try to blend in these this redevelopment with kind of streets or to make it look better. Because a lot of the streetscapes here were built or kind of contrived in the 50s, and it's a hodgepodge of different things, and we just feel like design review would be a good idea for these corridors.
Okay.
That's all I have, unless there's questions.
Any questions for Councilman Ertel? Okay, hearing none, we're going to move to Bill 5324. This is Councilman Young, related to the uses in the BL. Councilman Young.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bill 5324 amends the uses permitted in the business local BL zone in order to add a butcher shop to the list of uses permitted by right. The bill also specifies the 3.3 off-street parking spaces per 1,000 square feet of gross floor area required for the butcher shop use. We've run it by the department, talked with stakeholders. There's a current area in the district. They've had a successful business outside the state, but unfortunately our zoning laws don't apply to the type of business that they would be specifically doing, which resembles and is a butcher shop. So this would be clarifying the language to allow for it in District 1. That's all.
Okay, any questions, comments, or thoughts? Just a question. I don't know if this is Mr. Gutwald still with us? Councilman Young, I have a similar, it's not a butcher shop per se, but it is a kind of a deli that makes their own meats, their own pastrami, their own, they take the raw beef and turn it into dog pastrami and other kind of products like that. And they don't have normal health inspections. They go through some kind of state, federal health inspections. And I know that sometimes they have a more difficult time renewing their permits. I don't know if it's the same type of facility as Councilman Young has, or they actually chopping up meat, and I guess they're doing that at my facility as well. Any insight on that, Mr. Gutwald?
So this is just a use. So that's not, I mean, health department requirements is our whole set of number processes and permits that are applied for health purposes, not for zoning uses or for the use being located on a property. So this is just dealing with the use itself for zoning. So you'd have to ask, I'd have to go to the
Yeah,
health
fair
department.
point. Fair point.
Yeah, okay.
Just curious while we're on the topic. Okay, are there any questions or comments for Councilman Young? Okay, yeah, none. We'll move on to Mr. Secretary. The next two are Councilman Marks, who's not with us, who's having much more fun than we are.
Yes,
And
Mr. Chairman,
you want to present those?
yes, we can definitely present those. In fact, Mr. Phillips is queued up and ready to go.
Okay,
All right, so Bill 5424 adds data centers and energy storage devices to the zoning regulations and permits them in several different zones. These types of uses have not been previously defined in the zoning regulations, so there's a new definition for both a data center and energy storage device. The bill allows both of these types of uses by right in the RC5, MR, MLR, ML, and MH zones. However, there's several special regulations that these uses must meet in order to be in those zones. Specifically, they must be on a minimum of 30 acres, which must be located at least 1/2 or at most 1/2 mile from a transmission line. There are some specific setback requirements and height requirements, or I'm sorry, maximum height limitations, I should say. And there's also a few landscaping buffer requirements, specifically that there must be a landscape buffer around the entire perimeter of a building or any portion of a building that uses a data center or energy storage device. However, this is not required in areas that are already vegetated. And that is the sum and substance of that bill of 5424.
thank you, Mr. Phillips. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts to share with Mr. Phillips?
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Young?
and since this is on the first consideration, there's time to talk with the sponsor too. Just wanted to ask about the impetus for the bill. What kind of brought this up, this particular issue? If you knew, if not, it's.
I do not. That
Okay.
is a question for the councilman when he is back in the office.
Absolutely. No worries. Though, glad we have 2 work sessions to talk about it, so appreciate you fielding it, Adam.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Okay, no more questions on this one. We'll move to the next item. And this is again, Councilman Marks, Mr. Secretary. No,
I believe Mr. Phillips has this as well. It's a CZM issue that Mr. Marks is trying to address.
Okay, Mr. Phillips?
So this bill would require, it's fairly simple. It would simply require the planning department for any CZMP notice that they required throughout the process. It would require the planning department to pick up those signs at least no later than 60 days after the planning board hearing. So during the CZMP process, the planning department, we've been advised by the administration that the planning department works with PAI to put the notice signs on different properties for any issue that was raised by the administration, the planning board, or a council member. So this would simply require them to, at the end of the planning board process, arrange to have those picked back up in the same manner that they were posted.
Okay. This one's a bit of a head scratcher, but I'll ask if anybody has any questions, comments, or thoughts to share. Okay, hearing none. We'll move on to the next item, which I think there may not be any. Is that correct, Mr. Secretary? Is that the end of the agenda?
That is, Mr. Chairman.
What are we going to do with ourselves on Tuesday?
Well, I would encourage you all to stay close to your computers and go from there,
Okay,
or your phone or tablet.
okay, thank you.
Mr.
So this
Chair,
can-
are,
Yes, Councilman Catch.
are we having another meeting after this?
I think we're having legal counsel, is that correct?
Is there any possibility we could do that like soon?
I think so.
I
We're
think
going
the
to meeting, correct?
intent is to go right from here to that.
Okay, so this concludes the work session of July 9th. Thanks everybody for participating.